Hey, how's it going, guys? And welcome back to the North Investor, where we all about personal finance on our path to financial freedom. We are back today with the second episode of this brand new series where I'm trying to beat the stock market performance. And today I have some pretty good news for you. But first, before to check out what is my portfolio performance for the month of September 2022, let's do a quick recap of what were my personal objectives for this challenge. My first objective, as you can see over here, is that I was aiming for more growth because I want to be able to beat the stock market. But because currently we are into a recession time where the stock market is usually going down because of the lack of liquidity on the market, usually the defensive stocks will have a less bigger drawdown compared to the usual growth stocks. I currently have a lot of different defensive stocks, so value stocks mainly focus into the Canadian market, and I will potentially keep an eye ponderation in those kind of stocks because of the current macroeconomic events on the market. The second objective obviously was to have a better diversification of my portfolio because at the moment I still don't have any kind of stocks into the healthcare and into the services field. I was currently looking at Johnson & Johnson, but at the moment I don't consider that it's the best time to buy it. The third objective, which I'm thinking about removing potentially, is the geographical diversification. I don't necessarily think that it might be the best place to invest right now. Also, I wanted to add more companies within the different sectors that I currently have, mainly for the real estate, the materials, and the consumption sectors where I only have one stocks within those sectors. Obviously, I wanted to keep a maximum allocation of between 5 to 10% in one stock to reduce the risk of my portfolio. And at the end, of course, my main goal is to be able to beat the stock market performance. But keep in mind that even if I've received a couple of dividends throughout September, I am not going to take in consideration this dividend into my total return. So now let's see what is my portfolio. As you can see, first, I still have a lot of cash. As I told you, the last month I have between $15,000 and $20,000 still to be able to invest it. During September, I won't hide you that I've mainly bought a lot of different ETFs, but I still made one interesting acquisition that I will explain to you later on in the video. As you can see overall, there have been a lot of different losses in my position, mainly throughout the technology sector, where we can see that my biggest loss came from Meta, with about less 17% of return, but I've been able to make a quite little gain on Tesla. The new acquisition that I've actually made is about the company Rumble with the ticker RUM. If you have watched my video on the two top stocks that you need to watch for October 2022, I was talking about Rumble, which is a potential competitor in the near future for big company into the video sector, just like YouTube and Dailymotion. But at the moment, it has a quite lower market cap of about $3 billion, which for me was a great opportunity to try to invest right now in such a company that has seen some massive growth in the past because of some big names that were coming on the platform. So I've had about 40 shares with a price of $17 per share for a total of about $685 for this acquisition. I might be able to increase my position eventually into this kind of company, but for the moment I wanted to start slowly by slowly. For the energy sector, we can see that it has been down also a lot in the past month, with AQN being my biggest losers during September. For the financial sector, however, we can see that throughout this last month that has been horrendous on the stock market, it has been one of the best sector in September in terms of performance, and it has been able to resist pretty well to all the different negative events that happened. However, you can see that the BNS, the Bank of Nova Scotia, have been the banks that have lost the most value throughout that month, with about less 8% of loss during that month. For the communication, so for Bell and TELUS, this month haven't been the best one yet, with some losses of about less 8% and less 7% for both of these companies. And as you can see in the consumption sector, Couche-Tard hasn't been able to perform well, which has been the same for Savaria in the material sector, that has however been able to produce a positive return on the month. And obviously my real estate company, which is Raucan, haven't been able to perform well throughout this month because of the raise of the rates, which could potentially cool down the real estate market. And my smaller position in VNP hasn't been losing too much value throughout the last month. And finally, the performance of my portfolio for this month have been about less 6%. So you might think that it's not a really good performance, but if we compare it with the S&P 500, which has been returning about less 10% in the last month, we can see that it has been able to perform better compared to the market. And it's the same for the ETF of the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index ETF. That will be my benchmark personally for this kind of series. We see that since the last month, it has been down of about less 10% as well. So overall, this stock performance throughout the last month haven't been too bad because I am well diversified. Obviously, in the next month of October, I have many different stocks on my list that I will take a look at, and hopefully I will see some great discount that I will be able to add some shares to different companies that I currently own, and also add different companies that I don't currently own. And for the sectoral distribution, as you can see, I have still two main tilts, which are into the financial sector with about 30% of my assets, and into the technology sector with about 30% as well. So eventually I want to be able to increase the overall ponderation in other sectors, just like the communication, the consumption sector, but also into the healthcare, and also I want to be able to diversify my real estate sector, because at the moment about 15% of my portfolio is focused in one company in the real estate market. But obviously I will potentially trim down this position and reinvest a certain part into another real estate company. And I've also forget to mention it, but throughout the past month of September 2022, I've lost about $5,000 of value for my stock portfolio. And finally, for the transaction that I've made for this month, it is pretty simple. I have only made one transaction. On the very last day of September, I've decided to buy a little bit of Rumble, and as I told you, it cost about 17 Canadian dollars per share to acquire 40 shares in total, and my total cost was about $685. And guys, I hope that you liked that video. Let me know in the comment section what do you think about my performance for the month of September 2022. And if you want to understand why September was clearly one of the worst months on the stock market for 2022, make sure to check out the video that's gonna appear just right over here. And make sure to join the North family by subscribing to the channel for only $0.0. And I will see you soon. Peace!